right, I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to start here. Tipsy Realtor, I apologize for the technical difficulties.
We were all set up, all good
I
to
know.
go. I thought we troubleshoot all technical problems and still no go. Like, geez.
Yeah,
Go, no go.
the intro doesn't want to go, but we are here, the Tipsy Realtor. We are missing our one other favorite realtor,
Yes,
Victoria,
Victoria,
unfortunately.
we miss you today.
Yes, and it is actually Victoria's 1 year anniversary of being on the show.
That's right. She made 1 year as a tipsy realtor.
We told her that we would teach her how to drink, so I think she's getting better because she doesn't make a face at every cocktail
Well, she
now.
also kind of know now how to make the cocktail more drinkable as well, which
Exactly.
is a skill, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. But we will do a little cheer for her.
We will.
And today is November 1st, which means we officially in a month of November. Hence, I am wearing my favorite boy band, Motley Crue. And we'll be doing mainly drinks, mainly topics, and yes, just kind of raising awareness for men's
Prostate cancer, which is what November's about.
Yes, cancer, and of course Remembrance Day. I mean, it's not only men who fought the war; it was a lots of women. But Remembrance Day is coming up. Let's make sure you guys donate and support the veterans.
Absolutely. So today we are going to make the final say.
And it looks very pretty.
It
and
does.
It's blue, kind of like a manly color.
And we're going to talk about who has the final say when it comes to problems in a transaction. So we're going to explain all of those items to you. And hopefully this will help you understand when you're dealing in the next transaction who's in charge.
Yeah. Okay, Robin, let's start with the recipe.
We'll start.
Would that work?
Yeah, the recipe.
Okay, the recipe works. Okay, great.
Okay, so we're starting with a shaker full of ice. Of course, we got this shaker from the amazing
Fifth and
Vermouth.
Yeah.
Love their stuff. I'll be honest, I've dealt with a lot of like different cocktail stuff. Fifth and Vermouth, by far, if you're looking for Christmas gifts, go online. They ship right to your house. You can go to
Wine Arts. By Proof. They carry it, and I saw it at Willow Park liquor store as well.
Yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. So here we are on our recipe. We're looking at pretty much gin, which is Confluence is what we're using today.
Also a local brand.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to show you guys Confluence, local Calgary brand. They distill it right here.
Now, creme de violette, which is actually funny because usually I can get creme de violette everywhere. But when I went looking for creme de violette, I actually had to go onto liquor.com to figure out exactly where I could find creme de violette. And same with maraschino cherry liqueur.
Well, yeah, I actually, to be honest, I don't know, like, it looks familiar, but I don't even know if I ever tried it. It's kind of, it doesn't really, well, I guess it kind of smells like a very dry cherry. Okay, but that's cool. Like, very interesting ingredients.
Now we have to shake for 10 seconds. So Anna is going to be
I'm ready. I will have to put 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 9, and 10. There you go.
All right. Oops, it's sticking to me. All right, so you shake it for 10 seconds.
And we're using the coupe glass.
Strain it into the coupe glass. It is a beautiful, beautiful color. I think it's a pretty impressive looking cocktail, like if you're serving it to people.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see if it tastes as good as it looks.
And then you can do a lime wedge or you can do a maraschino cherry. We're actually using maraschino cherries, which I did get from Vine Arts.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Yeah, Vine Arts always has a great, like they're usually my go-to when it comes to a lot of like
beautiful.
Cheers to Victoria! 1 year anniversary.
Yes, we have to catch up with her later.
I think she wouldn't have minded this one. Still tastes pretty alcohol-y.
Yeah. It I don't know, it's like
I thought it would be sweeter.
It has a sweetness to it, but it has a specific taste. It tastes like a little bit licoricey or something.
Look how pretty that is.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
It is a very pretty cocktail.
It definitely has a very strong, whatever this smells like.
Maraschino?
So maraschino liquor, it's a that what like smell it. That's what
Yeah,
it tastes like.
yeah, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. But it is
It's interesting. Like it's not as fruity.
no, it's a sipping cocktail. It's definitely something I would say you could start a meal with it.
Yes,
It's a good palate cleanser.
definitely. Yeah, I agree on that because it really opens on your palate. I think the lime kind of balances it out, so it
Yep.
does have that acidity to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would recommend to try it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do like it. I think it's a nice,
Yeah,
impressive cocktail. Good way to start an evening
I
with
definitely never had anything like this before.
no. I'd
No,
say I would
like
give it as a
gimlet.
welcome a gimlet. Yeah. I don't know. It would be a cocktail that I would give as a welcome cocktail. Like if
Yes,
someone was coming to my house,
it
this
is
would
going
be
down for the weird cocktail. That's going down really
yeah.
fast.
But I would. It would be a nice
Mm,
welcome cocktail. That's what
yeah,
it would be what I would give people as a
yeah.
welcome cocktail coming to my house.
Yeah, and it's definitely has like that blue, so you can do like Christmas thing too.
100%.
It has a little bit of that Christmas flavors too. So yeah, I would say solid 7.5
Solid seven and a
out of
half.
10.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there you go.
All right.
But let's talk about so who
Let's
has
talk
the
about
final?
sex, baby. Just kidding.
And yeah, and just like that, right?
Squirrel. Okay, let's talk about who has the final
Yeah,
say.
who has the final say? Well,
It's always me.
yes, in her household. For sure, Robin is the boss. But we agreed that the agent doesn't have a final say, except two things.
Yes.
Like whatever you think the problems in real estate arises, we have the least say in it.
We are, absolutely. We
Yeah,
are the least in control of every transaction. We're
yeah,
like the facilitators. We're
that's right.
guiding everyone to talk to everyone
Yeah,
and we're guiding and getting
like messengers
information.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
yeah,
But the realtors are the least in control of a
yeah.
transaction. A realtor cannot do anything in a transaction without their client's permission.
Final say, but that's
Ever.
the client's final say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the realtors have, so when realtors try and use the term there is no I in real estate.
No, I actually use we. And
We.
then I was like, because we kind of like a team, but it's like just to say like we, our offer, we think. I was like, not me,
Yeah.
we as a team
Yeah.
agreed on. But the two things we want to say, what the realtor has a final say on, it's our fee. We actually can agree or disagree how much we would charge.
Absolutely.
And also, if we decide to work with you as a client.
And to be honest, all commissions are negotiable. There is no
Yeah.
set or standard commission. There cannot be. But can me and Anna both individually decide we want to charge, like I'm going to charge a certain amount or she's going to charge a certain amount? 100%. It is up to us as to
Yeah.
what we charge individually. But if you don't agree with the amount or the fee of which we're going to charge, we can choose not to work with you.
Right. Well, sometimes it's also happened that you are so different from each other
Yep.
that, the personality clash is so big that you enable even kind of to work
Or,
with the person.
yeah.
Doesn't happen often. I think I had that happen once in 17-year career where I actually had to fire my client. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just not going anywhere. But yeah, but usually,
A lot of
yeah,
times for me, it's about we discuss what your expectations are. And if your expectations exceed what I can provide for you, that's where I'll be like, you know what, I
yeah,
think you should search out someone else
if you're
because
not
I
realistic.
can't, yeah, I can't fit that expectation. Like if you want someone to be at your beck and call, stuff like that, that's not how we work. We're not beck and call realtors. We respect each other's time. We respect each other's issues. We respect the fact that, we each have our own individual things that we need to deal with. And as
Hmm.
long as there's that mutual respect, I know for us, but we're not beck and call realtors.
That's right. Yeah,
So
we can't even have the time for that. So,
no,
yeah.
exactly.
But that's only really two things that realtors have final say, and there is a whole bunch of issues that you can arise in real estate that we have nothing to do with. Let's start with the most simple one. We cannot make the buyer to buy your home. Like we cannot say like, listen, if you buy this home, then you can get like a special privilege or we get an incentive.
Yeah.
Sometimes people's like, well, if you just do this, and we will do this for the buyer if they buy our home. And it's like, unfortunately, we have no say in that. The buyer is the one that decides. Doesn't matter of incentives, price drops, whatever is offered to the buyer. If they don't like the house, they don't like the house, and they have the final say in that.
Absolutely. And it always makes me laugh at the people when they're like, well, how come, like that buyer went and looked at my house and they didn't like it? Or how come the buyer looked at my house 5 times and they didn't buy it? You
Right.
can't force somebody into it.
Exactly.
Failing on terms. So if there's terms in a contract, such as like possession, which is actually a term, if there is like a real property report that's required to be provided and it's not provided, that's kind of where the lawyers get involved. Realtors will try and find resolutions that can be a mutual agreement. But if it goes past us being able to get you to mutually agree between the buyer and the seller,
especially if it's after closing.
Absolutely. A lot of times we've got to get the lawyers involved, and then the lawyers will try and again facilitate an agreement based on law and mutual agreement of the buyer and the seller. But if it goes past that on a failed term, it unfortunately becomes a small claims court issue, depending on what it is, Court of Queen's Bench. Usually it ends up in small claims court because it would have to be fairly significant to exceed $75,000 going into Court of Queen's Bench. But that's where the law comes in, and then it becomes out of our control. So usually we will try and get everyone to come to what I always say is a good compromise leaves everybody miserable. But if that doesn't work, it goes to the lawyers. And if that doesn't work, the final say rests in the courts, which kind of sucks that that's the kind of length that you guys have to go to. But it is how it works because
sometimes
it is
it's
law.
necessary, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
that's, and going with the terms, like we also discussed about the trouble, like so let's say you do due diligence as a buyer and you have to have access to the property to do the due diligence. Sometimes it's a home inspection, sometimes it's an appraisal has to come in to do an appraisal so you can get new financing, and let's say the seller does not allow access. Technically that's a breach of a contract, and therefore again this is like a goes into court level. Because we as a realtors again can try to chat with each other and say, hey, it's in our contract, you have to let us in. But if the seller does not let the buyer to perform its due diligence under the terms of contract, we're going into breach, and that's where it goes into a higher level.
Yeah. So lots of times if there is a breach of contract in that kind of case, just to understand how it processes. So technically all the listing contracts and all the purchase contracts are actually owned by the brokerage. So Remax, Sutton Group, Royal LePage, Sotheby's, whoever you want to be with, they own the contract. So lots of times, like what we'll do to escalate, if we're looking at escalation, is we'll start with us, see what we can solve. If we can't solve it, we'll jump up to the broker level and we'll start getting the brokers to talk to each other because technically they own those listing and purchase contracts. If it can't be resolved there, we'll jump to the lawyer level and get the lawyers to start talking to the client saying, look, like you're in breach of contract, you have an obligation to do this. And then again, unfortunately, that breach will end up in the courts if you can prove that there was a loss incurred by whoever breached that right.
Like again, we're talking about how would I say it? This is like the other spectrum, like the
your worst case scenario.
Worst case scenarios, exactly. It's not like somebody let me in a house and it goes to court right away. It's like it's not like this. A lot of the times, as what happens, the seller maybe changes their mind to sell the property. Although
gets a backup offer that's higher, especially in this market. It's happening a lot.
Right. So they kind of like not rooting for the first offer to go through.
Yeah. And they'll do things to sabotage it.
Yeah. But again, if the buyer is in the loss, because you have to understand, person who's buying the property also has the stuff going on in the backstage, right? Yeah. Maybe they sold the property. Maybe they're already living out of the hotel and just like need to close this deal, and the seller is not closing. Well, then they basically sitting in a hotel with all this money from the house they just sold.
Yep.
And they have literally no place to live. So they can sue for losses.
Yeah. And the losses can also be is that like if you end up selling the property as a seller for more than what they paid for it, that loss could be an argument that that's a loss now that they're going to have to go buy another house and it's going to be that much more expensive
Right.
because you made them fail their conditions because you didn't give them access to the property, which in the contract, the access to the property is already written in there for the home inspection, for the financing, for the appraisal, that you as a seller are obligated to give them access. And this is a big thing. We try and work around seller schedule and stuff like this. I always tell my sellers, it is not access at your convenience. They have a due diligence period. You give them access when they need
whatever
access.
They ask.
We will be as respectful as possible, and obviously it needs to be in regular business hours. But it's not that you get to keep readjusting it, because I've had that happen on properties where the seller keeps rescheduling the due diligence. And I'm like, no. You can't do that. You have to let them in. They're making people available to do this. So,
and the only thing I would add to Robin's comment, you guys, we work as a team. We mentioned
100%.
that. Tell us what you need to do to make this process the most convenient to you.
Yeah.
If you're working from home, if you have family visiting, whatever that is. So the more we are aware of it, the more
100%.
like stuff we can do again at the backstage. You don't see it, and then it feels convenient.
Vika says she wishes she was here. We wish you were here.
Yeah,
Cheers,
cheers. You would like it.
Feel better
I think you would like this one. And so problem with conditions. So we talked about conditions. Talking about now the buyer is doing the conditions. They're doing their home inspection. They're doing their financing. They're reviewing the condo documents. Those are like the three major ones. So there could be a whole bunch of other ones, but let's talk about the three major. If the buyer, because like if you're in the contract, it says to satisfaction of the buyer of home inspection, to satisfaction of the buyer to pass the condominium. And obviously they have to be successful securing the financing
and satisfied
on the terms that they can. So let's say they have 10% down payment and the bank says, well, if you had 15, we would give you money, but they have only 10. So it's also something like if that financing not satisfied to the buyer's terms, they don't have that down payment, that's something, again, they're not meeting the condition.
Yeah. And also, too, is to their satisfaction, it can be just because you are satisfied with how the condition is done doesn't mean that they are. So even if the bank comes back to them nowadays and says, hey, I'll give you a 3% rate, and they said, no, I really want a 2% rate, and the average rate is 5%, they're not satisfied. So unfortunately, you can't change satisfaction. Satisfaction is subjective to each and every single person. This comes with home inspections. This comes with financing. This comes with condo docs. This even comes, sellers can put in conditions too. And again, they're always to the benefit of who put in the condition, meaning that they have the final say. They have the one who's saying they're satisfied or not. So keep that in mind, is that as long as there's conditions in the contract, your house isn't really sold. Once those conditions come off as a seller, you've got a lot more rights. But as long as there's conditions, really the buyer, who's ever got the conditions is in control of that contract until those conditions are removed.
And I think is also like, a lot of sellers have that problem. Like usually arises with a home inspection. They're like, well, what can we do to make them feel better about it? Like, to go through the sale. But the thing is, again, if the buyer is not comfortable with the number of items that was found in the home inspection, they don't deal with it. They don't want to renegotiate. They want to walk, and that's their right as a buyer, because again, we cannot make the buyer to buy the house they don't want.
And here's the other thing is sellers always say, well, can I get a copy of the home inspection? No, not if they don't want to give it to you. Can I get a copy of their financing? No, not if they don't want to give it to you. They can just say they're not satisfied, and that has to be good enough for you.
Yeah, technically, because the buyer does their own due diligence, they pay for all the services like the condo documents review, home inspection. So all those summaries and reports are buyer's property, and therefore cannot be shared unless the buyer allows it to share.
And the buyer's agent can't share it without the buyer's permission.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep all that in mind. But we are coming to the end of our show, and it's price time.
Price time. Price.
Oh, wrong one.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Are we still on? Okay.
We're still on. No, we're doing good.
So, prize time. So,
We are giving away the test for radon.
all right. Yes.
So, everyone who entered, thank you so much. You guys did a great choice. Ooh. Great choice. Thank you so much. Radon testing is so important. So please, even if you don't win, call Great West Radon. Get your radon kits. Make sure you get out there and
Lynn Galasso.
So Lynn is down in Jersey.
Oh, all right.
So yay for Lynn. Good for you. She's one of my girls on the girls trip that I annually go on.
Is there a radon in Jersey?
I don't know. Lynn,
we need to find out, Lynn.
Yeah, so Lynn, you got to tell us your results, buddy.
You will have to do the test because we don't know.
So, but next month, because we are sitting here in the month of Movember, of course, prostate cancer, all that kind of stuff.
And how does it go to our gift? Because it's martini glass?
It's martini glasses because 007. These are some high-end wicked martini glasses. 007, super cool, super rad.
And they like very heavy. Like,
they're
you
quality,
know, like it's like a workout. Like, this is like my weight.
So this, at the end of November, the winner's going to be able to make themselves a nice, awesome, shaken not stirred martini.
So it comes in a cool box.
It does come in a cool box. It's high quality.
It's like not drop it.
Yeah, don't drop it.
It's so high quality I didn't know how to open the box. But it's like really nice gift. Yeah.
So you can win it. You can give it away. You can keep it for yourself. But please feel free to find us.
Yeah.
On
all
YouTube.
social media platforms. If you see the Tipsy Realtors, share, like, and tag us, and your name will be entered to win the prize.
Absolutely. And
what are we doing next week?
Next week, bitter temptation.
Ooh.
So next week we're going to be talking about bitter temptation and what to do when a home inspection goes bad, and what are your rights, and how do you deal with issues and all that kind of stuff.
Is it bitter temptation a men's drink?
Bitter temptation is a men's drink. Okay. Nice and strong. It's a good one.
Okay.
And come on, how much fun is it to drink a drink called bitter temptation?
That's right.
So, of course, as always.
Yes. And I just want to mention our journal.
Journal.
Which we put together. We're back on the right page, finally. So November 1st here. But if you guys looking for Christmas stockings, little presents, people who love cocktails, and it's the birthday coming up, you don't know what to give them a season 4, which is current season of Tipsy Realtors. You can follow our cocktail list. All cocktails are published. All real estate topics are published. You can make notes. You can follow us. And it just, in general, so how many, like 12? No, how many? No, not 12 drinks. How many drinks are there?
42, 44?
Yeah.
44 cocktails. But anyways, it is on Amazon. Yes. We will post the link below, so please feel free to buy your friends, your family, your coworkers our cocktail journal and conversation journal and take notes and follow along with us. Hang on, I gotta get us back to us.
Okay.
There we go.
Lost. Okay.
We got lost. But if you're looking at buying or selling real estate, know anyone looking at buying or selling real estate, have friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, someone you don't like, please refer them to us, even people you do like. We want to be here to
people you like.
We like the people you like.
Yes.
But the most important thing is getting people the right advice. And that to us is important, is telling them what is best for them, regardless as to how it affects us or anyone else. It's about what's best for them and giving them the most amount of information, because it truly is important to us that they make an informed decision. Whatever that decision is, whatever that information is, we want to put it all in front of them, because that is how you should make decisions, especially when you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Bye. See you. Hopefully, Vikia will be back with us next week.
Next week. Okay. Bye.